because if you do these things in this order, you are going to kill all your body fat. It's going to be great. If there was just 3 things you could do to kill your body fat, would you do it? I'm going to walk you through those 3 things, and we're also going to talk about how to make it permanent with the last tip. So let's just jump straight into it. First, it's kind of obvious, but you got to cut calories, and I'm going to give you tips on how to actually achieve that a little bit easier. So number 1, if you are not already food logging, you should food log. And I know that, you could do that at least temporarily, at least for like 2 weeks, just to kind of get an idea of what all you eat. And there's going to be some things that pop out that surprise you as to how high calorie they are. But food logging really helps you to control what is coming into the body. It is by far the easiest way to lose body fat. There's some nuance to it that I wish people would say more often, but it's becoming more known that exercise is not the best way to lose body fat. I think it is essential for losing body fat, and we're actually going to talk about that, but it is not the best way. Like if straight up a person had to cut calories versus just do cardio, I would definitely want them to focus on the diet side of things. Now, it's not just as simple as cutting calories. There are, ways of, and we're going to talk about that on step 3 and 4, but there's ways of actually cutting those calories that make it a little bit easier. Because if you just simply take what you're already eating and cut it, it's going to be miserable because you're probably eating more processed foods. If you eat this standard American diet, you're probably eating more processed foods that are higher in calories. And so if you just eat less of those, that would work. It's just you're going to feel very limited in terms of how much you're eating. It's just the volume of the food is so low. Like a McDonald's cheeseburger is like 500 calories. I'm assuming. I don't know. It's probably somewhere up there. And so it's just like one little cheeseburger. Like they're not the biggest cheeseburgers in the world. So anyways, and so you can cut calories, you can food log, but unless you do this next stuff, unless you understand it, then you're not really gonna have success with that either. So I want you to look up your TDEE minus 1000. So your TDEE is your total daily energy expenditure. You'll come up with a calculator on Google somewhere that will ask you a few simple questions. It'll tell you your total daily energy expenditure based off your movement and your basal metabolic rate. Basically your metabolism plus how much you move throughout the day. It's a good starting point. Subtract 1,000 from that because our goal here is to kill body fat as fast as possible. Any faster than that, you're really going to be suffering probably, as well as losing muscle. You still could lose a little bit of muscle with 1,000 calorie deficit, but especially if you have a lot of weight to lose, I would not worry about that because the energy deficit is going to be made up by your body fat. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. But that is how we are going to achieve that calorie deficit. So you're going to be tracking your food, and let's say your TDEE was 2,200. So now you're going to eat 1,200 calories, and we're going to increase the energy expenditure side of things. You might find you're actually losing weight a little bit too quick. Now you might think, no, that's not possible. I will lose weight as fast as possible, and I won't care how fast it is. But I promise you, you probably don't want to be losing more than about 2 to 3 pounds a week. Roughly 1% of your body weight. So if you're 400 pounds, you could lose 4 pounds a week, and that would be okay. But if you're losing 6, now the first 2 weeks is different because that's like a lot of water weight and stuff. But if you're losing 6, 7, 8 pounds per week, I promise you that is cutting into your muscle, and you do not want that. So this is going to be the fastest way to do it. But there is an important note: diet breaks. People don't want to hear this. I know they don't want to hear it because all of my clients, they almost never want to go on a diet break. Diet breaks should be, in my opinion, roughly a third of the length of your diet. So, you might have to diet for like 2 years. I'm not saying to diet for 2 years and then take a diet break for, I don't know what a third would be, 6 months or whatever. And then, get back on it. It's not that long of a picture. I would much rather it be a shorter picture. It's so much easier so that your body doesn't go through too much metabolic adaptation. There's a lot less suffering, and I promise you it's permanent. The reason this is the fast method isn't because I'm necessarily teaching you how to scorch body fat 50 pounds in a single month. That is not healthy. That is not permanent. I promise you no one has lost 50 pounds and kept it off in a single month. They were probably temporarily cutting or something. But the reason this is the fastest is because you probably know this yourself. This has probably happened to you, and you're kind of a victim to bad planning, where you lose a lot of body fat, let's say 30 pounds in 2 months. You lost 30 pounds in 2 months. That's not like crazy fast, but it doesn't even have to be fast. Let's just say you lose 50 pounds regardless of the time frame. If you gain 55 back, and then you lose 55, and then you gain 60 back, and then you lose 60, and then you gain 50 back, and then you lose, If you do that, obviously that is a very slow method of weight loss and it's not working. 5 years go by and nothing's happened. If you would have lost half of that weight over the course of 5 years and it was permanent, that's much faster. Now, I'm not talking about a 5-year timeline here. I'm just saying as an example. So, let's say you diet, I would suggest like 12 to 16 weeks. Plan on losing in those 12 weeks 24 pounds of body fat, and then taking a 4-week, an entire month diet break where you eat a lot of healthy food. You still eat your normal diet. You don't increase your calories by eating McDonald's and stuff. You eat more of what you were already eating. You let your body rest and recuperate from that diet fatigue. Things like cortisol and everything will lower, making it easier to get back on the diet when you come back. Plus, during that time, if you stay in the gym working out, which we're going to talk about, you are going to be building muscle. This is going to be a game-winning formula for you, and it's really, really going to help. But there is some more important things. So we're also going to talk about those. So the second tip, so the first one was cut calories. The second one is increase burn. I know that's obvious, but we're going to get more into it. Increase your calorie burn. I forgot a parentheses here, but lifting. That is your long-term calorie burn. So lifting is, for the sake of cutting body fat, the worst way of losing body fat. A lot of people disagree, but hear the nuance. Hear the nuance here. Whenever you go lifting, it could be the hardest leg day of your life. You're probably burning 150 calories tops, and it required so much effort. Now, that's great for building muscle, but it's not good for burning body fat. But long term, if you have more muscle on your legs and your upper body, you need more calories in order to sustain that muscle. So long term, that is a great play. So we need to be lifting weight. Plus, it is very healthy for you. Good bone mineral density by the end of your life. A higher quality of life as you age. All those things, lifting is so important. Plus, the most important thing is it keeps I keep saying plus, don't I? It keeps your basal metabolic rate, or your metabolism, basically your metabolism, it keeps it up. And that is what we want. Now, short term, actually, here, let me talk about lifting. I would lift 2 times to 3 times a week. Total body. So that's for your chest, your back, your quads, something like a squat, your hamstrings, your glutes, biceps, triceps, and shoulders. Now, you could do like 3 sets on each. You could also split that up into a push-pull, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday is just cardio, and then Thursday, Friday is the other push-pull. So look up a push-pull program if you want to go to the gym 4 times a week. I wouldn't start with more than 4 if you're a beginner. But if you could do 3 total body, that would be a great option as well. It doesn't have to take forever. You could superset as well. Maybe I should make a video on supersetting. This is less of a muscle building channel, but you could do your chest and then your back and then your chest and then your back, go back and forth. And while the other muscle is working, the previous muscle is resting, and that makes it a lot faster. But hitting up your entire body 3 times a week, that's the key. So let's talk about short term. This is what people tend to care more about, and that is cardio. In the short term is going to burn more body fat right off the bat. We're going to talk a little bit about steps here in a bit, but I'm talking actual cardio. So that is running, uphill. I prefer much. I'll just get into this right now. My preferred methods of cardio are uphill, walking on the treadmill without holding onto the handrails, or at least lightly holding on them, not pulling on them, or going up the Stairmaster. It's basically the same thing. One's just a fixed incline, the Stairmaster, it's a very high incline. But it's basically the same thing, because as you get more fit, let's say you're walking 3 miles an hour, 3% incline, and now in 6 months you can walk 10% incline, but before you couldn't keep up with it because you weren't fit enough. As long as you are not slowing down the treadmill, and the treadmill, if it's set at 3 miles an hour, you have to walk 3 miles an hour, you are going to be burning more calories in that same amount of time because you're working harder. Whereas on a bike or an elliptical, if you increase the intensity, let's say you start at a level 2 and you go to a level 9, you might accidentally be pedaling slower. So those are my favorite ways of keeping track of, am I getting more fit? Am I burning calories in the same amount of time? So I would start off with 2 to 3 days of cardio at 30 minutes each. Pick 3 miles an hour, 3% incline, or 2.7 miles an hour, 1% incline. Pick something, doesn't matter. And you stick with that. And that 30 minutes builds into 4 times a week, 30 minutes, and then 5 times a week, 30 minutes, and then 5 times a week, 35 minutes, and so on and so forth, up until you're getting an hour. This is how to kill your body fat. So if you're like ready to kill it, an hour, 5 days a week, plus your lifting. Now, you might not be able to commit to that, and that's okay. Just build up to what you can. Let's say it's 45 minutes, 4 times a week. Once you've maxed out your time, then you start working on increased incline. And once your incline keeps going up, then in that same 4 workouts for 45 minutes, Instead of walking at 3%, you're now walking at 11%, let's say 6 months in the future. I mean, that is some serious calorie burn, and that's what's going to kill your body fat. So, also though, steps. I mean, that's going to be important. Um, if your cardio increases and you're burning more calories in that same 45 minutes like we were talking about, but your steps outside of that decrease, then you're cutting into what you earned, So let's say you earned 400 calories in an hour, whereas used to you only burn 200 calories in an hour. But now that you've burned the 400 calories in an hour, you're moving way less outside of that, throughout the rest of the day. Then maybe your net positive, difference was only 100 calories, and we don't want that. We want as many of them coming from, body fat, as many of those calories being pulled from body fat as possible. So tracking your food log, like we talked about earlier, you won't accidentally eat more. Tracking your steps every day, you won't accidentally be moving less if you set a minimum, and I'm going to reach this no matter what. My minimum is 14,000, but I'm a personal trainer. I'm very active. Your minimum might be 6,000. I would like you to try and get to like 8 at least, but if you can't, minimum 6,000 no matter what, even with my cardio. Now on cardio days, it might be higher. On off days, you're still getting 6,000. So that's very important. But also there is the protein side of things. Now, why is protein an increased burn? Why is that not in cut calories? Here's the reason. Protein has the highest thermogenic effect of food. So it takes energy just to simply burn or just to simply use the protein, digest the protein. I think for every 100 calories of protein you take in, it's anywhere between 70 and 80 calories is what you actually get to use. So that's awesome. That is free calorie burn. Now, I'm not saying to go crazy on the protein and eat so many of your calories, like 80% from protein. Fat is very essential for transporting hormones and all kinds of other stuff and lubricating joints and everything. And carbs, you will have a better workout. You'll have better cardio if you allow yourself enough carbs. So I would eat roughly 1 gram per pound of body weight of your ideal body weight. So let's say you're 400 pounds and you want to be, you're like 200 pounds would just be like a dream to me. And you might change your mind later. You might put on a bunch of muscle and decide 210 is good. Or, you might be like, no, now that I've reached this, I want to but that doesn't matter. For now, just pick your ideal body weight. Let's say it's somewhere around 200, eat 200 or 210 grams of protein or something like that. That's going to cover your bases. Cause I don't even know I'll look at it real quick. I don't even know what 400, grams of protein would be. I mean, that would be 1,600 calories just by itself. If you had the equivalent in carbs, without even any fat, you'd be eating 3,200 calories, which is probably going to be too much to follow that TDEE minus 1,000 rule. So that is why protein is an increased burn, because if you can increase your protein, not only are you going to feel more full and more satiated, eat less, but you're also going to burn more. It's such a winning formula. But the key here is you have to be eating good food. You cannot be eating chicken, broccoli, and rice. Please don't do that to yourself. Now, chicken, broccoli, and rice, actually for a while, seasoned right, pretty good. But after a while, it gets pretty tedious. So the step 3 is delicious recipes. And I know that might seem like cliche or kind of like corny thing to add into the list, but I'm telling you, it's essential that you know how to make recipes. And I don't have it now. I hate to tell you this and then not have it for you, but I'm coming out with a cookbook that is completely free. I hate that influencers and everything charge out the butt for these things. It should be free to you, because all of these recipes are on Instagram and everything. I just take them, tweak them, make them a little bit better, and I'm going to put it in my own cookbook. And I want to have hundreds of these recipes for you. So get on my email list, link in the description if you want to. That's not the recipe book, but the email list is going to be getting the updated recipes. As it's updated, they're going to be hearing about it. They're going to be hearing about it first. In the future, I'm going to do it as like a, hey, get on my email list for my recipe book. But for now, you can get on my email list. You get a free download with it, down there. And you can be first. Actually, I think I'm going to work on them tonight, a couple of recipes tonight. So you might have something really, really soon if you join that email list. But so first is temptation recipes. And I think this, guys, is so key. This is going to help you so much. So let's say you're on a diet and every diet you've ever had fails because I just love pizza, or man, I just love ice cream. I can't get away from ice cream. You can make these things. And are they as good? No. But for a fourth of the calories, they're like 80% as good. And I'm telling you, it's enough to get you through the diet and to the diet break. And then maybe on the diet break, you have a little bit of the real stuff, or whatever. The real stuff. This is real stuff, but you know what I'm saying. The regular stuff. So like, there's a pizza. I'll just give you like a quick. You can zoom forward if you don't want to hear about this. But the pizza, if you take 2 low carb wraps, the carb balance wraps or carb balance, I think they're called carb balance from Walmart is where I get them. I think it's Mission though is the brand. If you take 2 of those wraps and you put cheese between it, fat-free mozzarella and pizza sauce, and then on the second wrap you put pizza sauce and then regular, part skim mozzarella and some turkey pepperonis, you have a pretty delicious pizza that ends up being pretty cheesy, and it like gets that craving out of the way. That's just an example of, fill in the blank for you. If you love lasagna, I have a high protein lasagna recipe that is going to fill your stomach, and you're going to be satisfied, and you're getting a lot of protein, and you're increasing that calorie burn. And this is such a powerful thing for you. So I just really hope that you take that to heart. Delicious recipes are the key. It's not eating chicken, broccoli, and rice. It's not meal prepping with all those containers laid out, where you have a chicken breast in each one and a sweet potato next to it and some broccoli. No, I'm not going to do that to you. You can do this with delicious recipes, and I'm going to give it to you for free. So I really hope you join that email list. I think it'd be really cool. So quick non-diet food, although you're on a diet. So it's kind of a fib. It is diet food, but it doesn't taste like diet food. So like, for instance, today, what do we have? We have pasta salad, and I just put basically a bunch of chicken in there with some really low calorie Italian dressing and some regular Parmesan cheese and black olives, peppers, and onions, and it takes up a ton of space. I put some of this really spicy mustard on. It's like habanero mustard. So good. And so that doesn't taste like diet. I can pull it right out of the fridge because I meal prepped it because I know a delicious recipe, and then we have a new one that I tried from Tasty Shreds, I think is what it's called. Tasty Shreds on Instagram. He had this hamburger helper. I tweaked it and I changed it, but it is filling, and it's hamburger helper. Come on. It's delicious. Laughing Cow, like cream cheese or light spread, I think is what they call it. That's the key to that one. Is it tastes like cream cheese, but it's just like no calories. It's amazing. Egg whites are a good like, certain recipes. I'm just getting off on a tangent now, but the point is that you can have delicious food, and it's just awesome. But the key here is going to be high volume food. That is number 4, high volume food. This is how I do it: low fat, high protein. You don't have to do it like this, but I tend to find that it's hard to get as high a volume any other way. I eat 66 grams of fat per day, and a little over usually. So we'll just say 70, 72, something like that. That's relatively low. It's not crazy low. I get enough healthy fat, mainly in the form of olive oil, avocado, and almonds. That's my main fat sources by far. And I guess a little bit from meat, but it's so lean, I hardly get any fat. Some of these recipes that I make have like, in a serving, they'll have like, I'm not exaggerating, 48 grams of protein and 4 grams of fat or something. It's just super lean meat, ground turkey and chicken breast, but cooked in a certain way that tastes really good. So I find that, if you eat too many avocados, too many almonds, these things are very healthy. Peanut butter, things like that, they have healthy fats in them. The problem is it just doesn't take up a lot of space in your stomach. And I really think the key here for you long term, I told you that number 4, we're going to teach you how to make it permanent. So how do you make it permanent is high volume food. You're eating a lot the rest of your life. That's the goal. Isn't that as you're dieting, you eat less and less and less and less and less, and now you stay down here forever, you eat like a bird forever. That's not what I want for you. I want you to be able to eat more food. And as you gain muscle, and this all kind of culminates as you learn how to make delicious recipes, high volume foods with those recipes, and you've built more muscle. Now you need more calories. Now you have to eat more food, and this food's just taking up all the space. It's great. Okay. So it is the winning formula. So low fat, high volume, low fat, high protein. So fruits and veggies, it's kind of obvious, but fruits, no one has gotten fat, even on bananas. Bananas is like the one people like to pick on the most. Show me someone who's gotten fat off bananas. Please, I will change my mind. Leave them in the comments. Tag them in the comments. I don't know how you do that, but let me know if you know of anyone that's gotten fat off bananas that you can actually prove has gotten fat off bananas. So fruit in general is going, like, more fruit. Studies show a person who eats more fruit loses more weight. It just takes up more space in their stomach. The best ones, though, are going to be berries usually. So strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, but definitely on the strawberry side. Watermelon's a really good one. As well, and all the melons are really good. But any of the fruit is going to, give you a little bit of a sweet tooth, like craving kick, while also increasing volume. But then veggies. So all of these delicious recipes I was talking about, they have a lot of protein in them. That's the key. Low-fat dairy and low-fat meat get you high volume, but also is veggies. So like the hamburger helper that I just talked about, that has onion and pepper in it. The same thing with the pasta salad, lots of onion and pepper. It just makes it big without hardly any of the calories. I think the onion I added to it, one medium purple onion, is like 34 calories, and it takes up, decent space. I could have added 2 onions. It just begins to be too much. But then this is a good segue into this last one. We'll just hit this real quick. So fiber, high fiber foods tend to be very voluminous. And since you don't digest the fiber, it's lower calorie. So the high, the not the high fiber, they won't claim they're high fiber, but they are high fiber. The low carb wraps that I was just talking about, the carb balance wraps, that's it. The fiber content on those is crazy. And that's why the calories are low. So you can apply that same principle to all of your recipes. If you get fiber through fibrous vegetables, that's things like broccoli, bok choy, which is like I think it's a type of lettuce. I don't know. I could be wrong. It looks like lettuce. Even iceberg lettuce, which doesn't have a lot of nutritional value, just increases. I don't think that has any fiber in it, but increases the volume. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on that. The romaine lettuce. I'm sure there's decent fiber in there. Now, where there's a caveat here on fiber is almonds and avocados. Great fiber content. It's just that they also tend to come with a lot of fat, so that's not really going to help you there. Other than that, I'm sure there's one or two other exceptions. Fiber tends to be really low calorie, and the combination of these steps, this is going to get you to your goals. And I'm so excited for this. It's one of the videos I'm most excited for, because if you do these things in this order, you are going to kill all your body fat. It's going to be great, and you're going to win.